Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Small Engine Velocity. And today we are going to work on the MarketPlace Ruckus again. It's been kind of on top of my list lately because it's just new, exciting, and I'm back in 49cc. So if you're a history person, if you've been with the channel for a while, then you know that that's how I started my channel, was 49cc and seeing how I could get it to go as fast as possible with as much or less mods as possible also. So today in this video, we are going to go ahead and do a lightened flywheel. So I went ahead and took the stock flywheel out from under the radiator, and I went ahead and sent it to a shop to have it lightened. I think it's JR Racing on the website. They also do head work and porting and polishing and stuff like that. You'll also need a flywheel puller. If you don't have this, I suggest highly to buy it because it makes all the difference in the world when you're trying to pull the flywheel off of your Honda Ruckus. You could try different contraptions and little clips and grabs and all sorts of stuff, but this, I promise you, you use this tool and it will take like 20 seconds to take it off and you'll be a much happier person for it. Since it is below the radiator, you're gonna have to drain the radiator because if you pull the radiator cover off, it's gonna put radiator fluid everywhere. Might as well do a flush while you're at it, or at least a refill of the radiator fluid. I use the Honda radiator fluid. Next is a NCY CDI. I purchased this so that I can remove the rev limiter from the Ruckus. Supposedly it advances timing, but I don't really know if I believe that or not. I've actually seen some videos before where they say chipped ECU. No. That's not what this is. All it does is it removes the rev limiter with a giant capacitor connected to the Ruckus. At the same time, we're also going to replace the battery with a new battery. I don't know if you haven't noticed in the videos, but I have to keep kick-starting the bike, and I'm gonna go ahead and replace the battery just in case. I'm pretty sure it's not the battery, but I need a new battery anyway, so I went ahead and do that. So, if this sounds interesting to you, go ahead and stay tuned. We're gonna go ahead and roll the intro and get right into it. All right, so the first thing you're gonna need to do is you're gonna need to take off the radiator cover. The radiator cover is held on with 4 Phillips screws. They are, what do you call them? The pointy kind, self-tapping, I suppose. It goes into plastic, so this must work better. Once you take off the radiator cover, then you will locate 4 bolts that are holding the radiator on. One on the left side of the radiator cap, one on the right side of the whole radiator, and there'll be 2 directly on the bottom. It's probably a good idea to locate them first because they're a little bit hard to find and can get frustrating when you're trying to find it. And plus you don't want to take off the wrong bolts while you're down there. So not that you can actually do that, but you might, you know. Also, you're gonna go ahead and need to drain the radiator. Why? Because when you take the radiator off, there's a top hose that connects to the back that's connected to the radiator. When you pull it off, you're gonna disconnect the hose and radiator fluid is gonna go everywhere. And then, you know, you're already inside the flywheel area and you don't wanna get it on the magneto and all sorts of other stuff. So it's just safer to drain it from the bottom and clean your radiator fluid while you're at it on it. Remember, this is a Honda Ruckus, so it's water cooled and it has a radiator, which is pretty awesome compared to other scooters. So go ahead and remove all 4 of the 8mm bolts. Once you get those off, remember to disconnect the 2 hoses at the top by the fill port where the radiator cap is. Use some pliers, get the hose clamp off, take those 2 off, and then you should be able to take the radiator and put it off to the side, kind of hanging there with the bottom radiator hose connected to it, so nothing to worry about there. Next, you'll need to remove the fan. It has 3 8mm bolts on there that will help you get access to the bolt in the center of the flywheel. When you go ahead and take off the center bolt on the flywheel, I use my impact, of course. It's a 17mm or a 14mm, I don't remember. It's either 17 or 14mm. You should be able to remove it with the impact. Be sure not to lose that screw or the washer underneath it. Now here's where the flywheel puller comes in handy. Use the larger end of the flywheel puller, at least on the one that I have, and screw it in to the left. It is reverse threaded, so it's left tight, right, loose. I know it's counterintuitive, but there's a reason so that it doesn't tighten itself up when you're trying. There's a reason for it. Just follow it and you should be okay. Once you screw it all the way down where it's at least hand tight, you don't need to freaking wrench it down as hard as you can possibly do it. Just get it tightened down with hand tight, and then go with the 17 millimeter on the top and drive that nut or bolt that's in the middle of it, and it'll push down, and it's not reverse threaded on that one, by the way. And it will separate the flywheel from the assembly and pull it off. It is, I've tried to take the flywheel off without this thing and then used it with, and I'll never ever try to do it again. As a matter of fact, I lost the flywheel puller at my brother's shop, and I had to come back and buy another one. I waited an entire extra day just to do the video on that part, just because of the flywheel puller, because it would have taken me forever to take it off otherwise. So tip for the wise, get a flywheel puller if you're gonna do this. Wonderful specialty tool. So as a little bit of a comparison, I wanted to do a little bit of weight comparison on here with the Lightened flywheel and the stock flywheel. So if we take a look here, we're gonna use a scale. We're gonna measure this in ounces and in grams for the Americans and for everyone else in the world. If you weigh the stock flywheel, it is 46.46 ounces, which is not terrible, but you know, that is the original weight of the flywheel, and the object is to lighten it. And then in grams, it is 977 grams, which is, remember, the stock flywheel. Now, when we go to the Lightened flywheel, which, I'm sorry, but it looks beautiful to me. I love machined parts. It is, when you weigh it in ounces, 28.92 ounces, which is a reduction, a pretty good reduction. That's about 29, so about 5 ounces shaved off. And then in grams, it is 820 grams on there. So it's short 100 plus another 50 or so, 150 grams or so. So definitely lightened. And I'm sorry, I have to say it again, but the machining on it looks absolutely beautiful. I love the way it looks now. They use some kind of special coating, so it's inside of there, anti-rust. It'll look great in there, but you know, no one's ever gonna see it because it's underneath your radiator. So now when we're putting it back together and you're trying to put the flywheel back on, remember that there's a key or a notch on the actual shaft that has to line up with the slot on the flywheel. Kind of put it in there and it should slide all the way in. Don't force it, don't dent it, don't put it on and then just start bolting it down and then hoping it will slide into the right place or something stupid like that. Just put it on, feel for it until it slides all the way down. Then you need to be able to put the washer on, and then I put a little bit of blue Loctite on top of here before I put the bolt on, because I'm pretty sure once we get this flywheel on, we're never going to have to take this flywheel off again unless something serious happens in the magneto slash starter slash all sorts of other stuff. Then put the nut on and then go ahead and tighten it down. I did not torque it. Please don't criticize me, but I did not torque it, but I did put it back on. So also don't forget to put the 2 hoses on the top of the radiator. Once you get everything crammed in together, it makes it really difficult to put those 2 hoses on. So put the 2 hoses on the top. Remember which one comes from the reservoir and which one goes to the rest of the other hose on the bike. Then you're gonna wanna put the fan back on. We're just going in reverse. You wanna put the fan back on. It has the 4 8mm bolts. Just screw those on, use a wrench like I did, and you're done. When you put the radiator back on, be sure to clean the end where it connects into the back of the motor or the side of the motor. You wanna make sure there's no debris or anything on there that would cause a bad seal and cause you to leak a little bit of fluid. So take a little bit of time to wipe around that. Then put the radiator cover back on. Oh wait, don't put the radiator cover back on. Fill the reservoir with the with the Honda fluid that I got. I got Honda fluid. I'm pretty sure I could have used whatever I want, but I wanted to do it right because it's not like I'm gonna be changing this often. So I put the Honda Type 2 inside of there, and then you put the cover on. Reason being is because the radiator cover has a piece that goes over it that stops you from being able to take the radiator cap off. And then you're also going to want to go and look under the seat. There's a port for you to do a fill for the tank, the radiator tank on the top. Fill it up to the proper line, close it, and you are done with at least this part. So the next part, we're going to do a replacement of the battery. I am not going to show you how to replace a battery on a Honda Ruckus because it's just 2 screws and a bolt and put the battery in. So here's what it looks like with the new battery inside of there. I got one of those blue gel ones from Amazon. I heard a lot of people say they like them and they work really well. And it wasn't super expensive, unlike the lithium battery that I put inside of the orange Ruckus, but it will do for this one. Perfectly fine. Now we're gonna move into the CDI, and before I begin with the CDI installation, I'm not trying to build you a guide on how to install the CDI, but there is a wonderful video from the Ruck shop on how to install the CDI onto your Honda Ruckus, and this is the exact steps that I'm using in my video. It's a much longer video with a lot of detail. I will link it below so you can see what it looks like, or maybe I'll put it up here. Yeah, I'll put it up here. And you can watch that if this is what you really want to do on this installation. If this is a video you're watching to do the installation, I recommend checking that video out. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take the battery box off. Very obvious, because everything is gonna be underneath the battery box. Take the 4 Phillips screws on both sides. Mine doesn't have 4 on, it doesn't have 2 on the other side, and the other side is Allen, and I'm pretty sure they forced those in, so those are gonna have to go eventually when I replace it. And then off of the ECU on the top side of the harness, or the side facing the front of the bike, locate in the corner the black with a yellow tracer, I believe it is. This is the wire we want to cut. I need you to peel back some of the harness if you have to, so you can get a long enough piece to be able to cut, strip, and crimp a wire on each side. We're gonna bypass that. It's gonna go through the CDI and come back out the other side. Now, what I want you to make sure to notice is that there is an orange and yellow wire. Yellow goes to the ECU, or the piece you have left on the harness, and orange goes to the CDI, or out. Remember, orange out, that's what they say in the Ruck Shop video. Orange out, and the other one goes in there. The way I did it, in the Ruck Shop video, they use butt connectors so you can plug in and out. Well, when I had this, the first few times I used this, I'm always tugging on wires and pulling on things, and I ended up pulling the CDI out from there a couple of times. So I just made it permanent. I used a crimp style, but then it was a heat shrink wrapped end to kind of keep it sealed up. Then on the harness that was provided with the CDI, go ahead and connect the CDI onto the bottom. A lot of these plug into a clip that is the only one that's on the harness. So you should never get this wrong, but it's the only one that will fit on the CDI. Once you plug that inside, I need you to locate the red connector with the blue wire. Should be somewhere towards the throat or the center of the bike, just sitting out there. It's not connected to anything. And I need you to find on the CDI harness the 2-pin connector that has a blue wire on it. Plug those in. Easy as pie. It's the only place it will fit. It's the only place it'll plug in. And they both have blue wires. Just because one has a red cap and one has a connector and one has a white connector is 2 blue wires. Easy enough. Then I need you to locate the bag that came with the CDI that has the power tap stuff. It's red and green, Christmas colors, has a blue connector inside of there. Should be easy to find. Hopefully you didn't lose it, because you need it. And on the green side, you need to hook that to ground. It comes pre-connected with a loop on it, so that should be very easy to use the Phillips or whatever it is on your negative terminal. Take that off and put that on. And then the power, we'll use the relay on there. Next to the battery, there's a set of 2 relays, and you want to use, when you pull that off to take a look, you want to use the green, it's a red wire with a green tracer. You're going to need to cut back some of the cover on the back so you can get enough space to be able to do the tap. Put the tap on, put the red wire in the tap and crush it in so that it makes the connection, and you're golden on there. Now, you may not want to use this type of tap. Use whatever you feel like it. That's great, but that's what it came with the kit, and I'm not going to buy anything extra beyond that. Then once you're done, go ahead and hang it back on. and you got your power, and that will connect to the harness also, only in one place. And then now you got your power and your ground to the CDI. Before we move on, let's go ahead and do a quick review. So let's do a little bit of review before we close this up and make it clean. Black and yellow wire off the harness. Yellow goes towards the harness, orange goes to the outside, orange outside. Then you have the CDI connected to the harness that it came with. And then the little red plug with the blue wire plugs into the white connector with the blue wire. And then you connect the power harness, which I don't have plugged in currently, and the green goes to ground, green ground, and then the red is tapped into here where we were talking about earlier for your power for here. So after that, you can give it a test start, see if it starts. Just remember that when you do this, that the kill switch up here, the kill switch stops working, okay? Just remember that. You'll have to shut off the bike with the key. So there is the review for the CDI. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up and give you a shot what it looks like when it's clean. All right, so obviously after this, you go ahead and put the battery box all back together. Tuck your wires in, zip tie it. I'm not gonna tell you how to do it. Use Velcro or tape to put the CDI somewhere, or squish it, or put it on top of the battery. There's many different places you could put it. Do what's best for you. Just make sure that it's secured so it doesn't fumble around inside your battery box and make you crazy. So now that it's all together, let's go ahead and put on the helmet, put on the gloves, get all the cameras attached to everything all over the bike, and we're gonna go ahead and do a test ride where I will talk how it feels with the CDI, and also what the takeoff like is with the Lightened FLYWHEEL, and we'll also do a speed test like we will always do forever on the MarketPlace Ruckus, because everybody wants to go 50 miles per hour. Remember, the goal on this bike is 50 miles per hour with a stock exhaust. Look as stock as possible, but go 50. Anyways, let's get to the moto vlog.
Alright, so here we are in the helmet cam on the Honda Ruckus with the Lightened FLYWHEEL and CDI, amongst other various objects that have been upgraded on here. I also tightened the brake screw, so now that when I pull the brakes, I stop a little bit better. Made sure everything's spun. So anyways, I want to say that this is my first ride with the Lightened everything, but this is my second. I do have to admit that the takeoff has increased greatly. Like, look at the car next to me. He hasn't accelerated past me yet, so, you know, I'm doing pretty good, right? Anyways, so we're going to go ahead and do a couple of speed tests. The wind is blowing south. I'm going to go also south. Hopefully I have enough roadway to do that, but we'll see. We will see, right? There's always more road we can go down, right? Ooh, I don't want to go too fast. This police car is gonna like pull me over and throw me in jail. Okay, maybe that's a little bit of an overreaction there, but I will jump back in once I get a good speed test going. Anyways, I'll see you in just a second, I guess. Alright, so one of the things I'm neglecting to do is to look at my tachometer. That will give me a good idea of what my RPMs are at, and seeing if I'm getting the best engagement from my sliders. And I realized that when I left the house, I forgot my wallet, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to run out of gas because the yellow light is on in here. So let's see if we can get a speed run here. Alright, not the smoothest of roads. Oh my gosh. They're going 42 at 8,900 RPM. 44, 44.3, 43.7. And Come on, smoothing out road or I won't be able to get past 44. There we go. 44. Uh-oh, my camera's out of whack. 45! We hit 45, everybody. 45.8. 46. 46.1. 46.2. 46.5. 46.8. 46.9. Oh, my Lord. 46.9. If I had a little bit more straightaway. Hold on, let me fix this camera here real quick before it falls off. Oh, shoot. I gotta be able to stop. Yay! New top speed, 46.9. You gotta admit, it's a pretty good one right there, everybody. Oh, shoot. As I fix the camera on the front of the bike before it falls off. Anyways, yay! So, I was hitting above 9,000 RPM. Probably had to just get the motor warmed up is probably one of the issues that I had. The key fell out again, as it always does. Hopefully I'll be able to get another speed run in here. Yay. I'm pretty excited, man. That's almost 47 miles per hour. With a stock exhaust, everybody. With a stock exhaust. I don't even know if anyone really realizes what that means when I say with a stock exhaust. And I didn't jet up. It's the same. Okay. No one's going that fast. I hit 45, 44 just now. So, yeah, awesome. I think we're going to cut it off here because I'm about to run out of gas and someone's going to get mad at me if I have to tell them to pick me up. Anyways, these mods were not that expensive and not that easy, not hard to install. It didn't break the bank. I still look pretty stock. So, yeah, I think we'll call this a success, everybody. We were able to get to 46, almost 47 miles per hour on a stock looking Honda Ruckus, minus the seat. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you enjoy this new 360 camera. If you want to see more stuff like this in the future, go ahead and do me a favor and give me a like and subscribe, and you can follow the MarketPlace Ruckus to its pinnacle before I decide I want to do something else with it, like lower it and put bars and stuff like that. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see everybody in the next video.
And I'm sweating already. Why am I wearing a jacket? Because I'm a fat dude and I need to not look so fat. Get this weird blue light in the back. See how long it lasts. Because someone said blue key lights and stuff look cool in a video. So we're going to do that. There we go.